Alright, so another model down. So these are the new hood latches. Can't really see them all that well, but they did turn out pretty good. I keep going back and forth between if I want to create a new bumper or not. I mean, the bumper is one of those things that'll just get hit hard pretty consistently. I don't know if even carbon fiber reinforced PETG would hold up. Actually, yeah, I will, because all it does, it has two shafts that slide in there. I'm going to try to create one, and we might just go see how tough that is and see if I can break it. Because if it's tough enough, then, I can make whatever bumper I want. I might try that. But first, I think I'm going to do the vents, and then I'm going to do the windshield wipers. Pretty cool so far. In a couple hours, I'll have vents. I did create a couple different types, and I'm just printing them in black for right now just to see if they fit that shape. Okay, so the next model is finished. It took me 2 tries, so this is the second try to get the shape just right. And so this has like, you can't really see that, but it has like a little honeycomb, almost like an intake. I'll get these on and we'll see how they look. So that hole is off a little bit. This one's just fine. The hole on the body is not actually in the exact same spot. Looks like it's about 1 millimeter off. I'll probably just ream out the hole a little bit rather than making my models uneven to fit the body. But check that out, that looks pretty badass. So right now I am working on the windshield wipers. I decided to just try to make my own set. I haven't printed this yet. I actually just finished the wiper. And then if that works out, then I'll move on to this piece and then see if I can get basically the basic shape to fit. It has these little cutouts where the hinges kind of sit back in there. Great. Tiny bit tight. I could have probably sunk it down a little bit, but overall, I think that looks pretty good. Once I get the windshield wipers in there, I think that's it. I have printed pretty much every body component on this. I gotta finish mounting these. I gotta mount this, and then I might take a look at trying to do a bumper. I still gotta change out the rock rails on the side because it's still got the PLA like red and black ones. And I actually want to do just solid black. That is a wicked looking Jeep. Okay, so the windshield wipers are done. These are my own version of a windshield wiper. That's pretty much the best I could do. So I just gotta put a heat set insert in the bottom of this and then go see if it fits and it's flush against the window. So this took me about 4 tries. This is the 4th try. I had it pretty close last time. Hopefully this sits flush enough where I don't care and I'll just leave it. Let's put them in. Okay, so that is both windshield wipers installed. I think this will be pretty cool. So, moment of truth. We'll see how flush those sit. Oh yeah. That's pretty good. A little bit off on that far one. Just a little bit. It's not much. Might just, oh, well, if I actually bolt it down, it actually sits flush. As long as that kind of sandwiches it up there, I think it'll be fine. That actually looks pretty badass. I'll switch out these and then figure out what to do next. Let's go over each one of the upgrade pieces that I've done to this. Drive shafts. I have steel drive shafts in here. These are Trial drive shafts. NHX brass diff cover on the front. On the bottoms of the front shocks, I have brass spring retainers. Trial wheels, Proline Mickey Thompson Baja Pro X tires. I just switched these out. These are carbon fiber reinforced. That is everything that I have done to the chassis, primarily just a little bit of weight modification. I plan on doing some other stuff. The first thing I noticed was the servo. The servo is underpowered. And the tires there was a lot of latency between, turning and then the actual tires turning, especially on carpet. Those tires would just basically like turn a little bit, and then you could just hear the fan wind down. The servo on this, I'm not very happy with it. I did actually just tighten it down though, because I was looking at it while I was turning the tires and it was shifting back and forth. There's still a little bit of flex to the plastic pieces. Oh, speaking of which, I did get a metal mount for the rear of this this servo. I will put that on. Let me just say, this body, after I modified it, is so easy to put on. Unbelievably easy compared to like the SCX6 or how this was before I modified it. The way Axial does it, I'll just say I don't like to do it. So let's start at the front. And this isn't in the order I did anything. It's just, I guess, positioning. First off, the headlight armor. I kind of want to remake these. They're a little bit too busy. The hood latches, so that actually has a little tiny little, it's like a real hole in it. so that was one thing I didn't have to buy. The hood vents, the fender delete kit. I actually bought a fender delete kit, a steel one. And I just didn't like how heavy it was. I made a little spot on the side. It says 1941. Bullet antenna. The hood hinges, they're detailed enough that you can make out the hex shape of the hole inside the bolt heads, which I thought was pretty cool. I actually still have to screw this down though. The windshield wipers took about 4 attempts to get those right. Folding mirrors. These fold in and they have a little stopper, so when you flip them back out, either direction, they stop at the same spot. Basically, all the hinges on the body, on the tailgate, they're all 3D printed from my own models. I printed the door handles, customized those a little bit. They have the Jeep 7-slot grill, which I thought was a cool addition. Roof racks next. This roof rack, it's actually can carry a lot of weight. You could probably carry close to 10 pounds up here, probably like 9 pounds, and still like not have your roof rack like, you know, bowing down and touching your touching your roof. And this was cool because I modeled it to actually have a secondary mount, so I could mount this this light bar. And then moving to the back, I have these window panels. So far, everything is also bolt-on. Nothing is glued on except for the hinges. But yeah, I wasn't actually planning on using this body, but I ended up using it anyway. So these panels, you can just, you know, mount different things to them, right? So on the other side, same thing on the window. This like panel. This one on this side is a little bit different. It carries a little fire extinguisher I modeled. All of these come off. Also, this rear, oh yeah, I forgot the whole back. So fuel door, it says fuel on it. Tailgate or new gate handle, that says Jeep on it. And then the license plate holder and the license plate, and then also the hinges on that side are 3D printed. Something else I do want to do is 3D print these window hinges. I think pretty much everything on this side is just a carbon copy of the other side. Thought about 3D printing this Jeep, the Jeep lettering there, and then just having just, you know, something just to give it some depth right there. I'm pretty happy that I was actually able to model all that stuff, so if anybody has any ideas for something that I could print and add to this, you know, I'm always looking for ideas. I thought about doing a snorkel over here because I did have one on that. I actually broke it off when I was blasting around on the trails. Well, something came in for the SCX6, so I'm gonna see what this is. I think I know what it is. All right, so just what I thought. So these are Samix steering knuckles, and these are brass. It comes with these like fake rotors. This should add a little bit of weight to the front and get us a little bit closer to 60/40, because that's, I mean, getting as close to that is my ultimate goal for the weight. And I did weigh the SCX6 and it was total like 11,000 grams or something like that, which is basically like 25 and a half pounds. So we're going to be trying to add some weight like this to the front. We're probably going to end up burning out that stock servo, so that's also something I need to think about. Okay, so time to weigh these. So the steering knuckles, 257 grams and 18, so 275 grams approximately per wheel on the front. So here's how much the stock ones weigh. 28 grams. So we're adding quite a bit of weight onto the front with these. The rotors kind of look funny. They're like sit way back from the wheels. But those are the knuckles installed. Eventually, I think I want to get a new front axle. Actually, probably the rear too, just as something, you know, a little bit more solid and durable. I think they look pretty good. And overall, this thing looks pretty badass. Currently, I have this bumper off because I thought I might as well try to see if I can model my own bumper. So we'll see if that turns out. Okay, so it's powered up. I'm still working on the bumper. I actually just finished something I'm pretty happy with, so I'm now printing and we'll see if it actually fits. Before I do anything else, I wanted to see how the servo's doing, because just stock with the stock weight, it was struggling quite a bit. And so with all this added weight, I actually wanted to see how easy or hard it was to turn the tires, how that affected those. Okay, so far so good. Okay, here we go. That is terrible. So, look, I'm trying to turn back right now. Crazy. So, what that means is that servo is now pretty much useless. So it looks like we get a new servo. Alright, so I guess I know what is in the upgrade future for this. Okay, so there's front 3474. Front driver is 3503. Okay, the rear driver is 2516, 2517. The rear passenger is 2535 about. One of the things that I wanted to do was try and recreate the front bumper to the SCX6. So this is a stock bumper, and this is just the one I took off of my SCX6. And so the reason I wanted to recreate it is I mean, it's an okay bumper, but I actually just didn't like these outer parts, these little points that it comes to. And I felt like it was just a tiny bit too wide for my liking. So I modeled my own version of this, and it's over here. So this is what I came up with. So this is the main housing. So I basically took parts from all of the bumpers that I found that I liked and tried to incorporate them into one thing. I am going to assemble a couple of these. This is kind of how it goes together. I really like things that bolt on instead of glue. A couple parts I do glue onto this, but for the most part I'm using heat set inserts and some hardware. So these little holes and stuff, I actually modeled those to fit the stuff that I already had. First things first, these things, I don't know what you call these, body posts? I made these separate. So basically the way I modeled this was for ease of printing. I knew it was going to be printed, so I modeled it to where I could, for the most part, print it easily flat without having like a crap load of supports underneath it. And it turned out actually really awesome. There's only a couple of supports that are needed for various parts, like these little tabs on the side here. Need supports. So the biggest bolts are going in these, which is an M3. And I already have an M3 tip on here. Probably need to clean that thing. And what's cool about it is, you know, now I have a bumper that is customizable and it doesn't cost very much to replace if anything breaks. And if it does break, I can replace just one or two pieces, hopefully, and get it to work. Okay, so I was so happy with my bumper that I made that I actually printed several sets. So I've, for the most part, settled on a color combination that I thought looked the best, and it really actually just goes with anything. Basically, this is a completed bumper. Everything's on it. The body posts are bolted down, and I think this looks really badass. So overall, it's a little bit thinner than the stock bumper. Here, actually, let me go get that. So this is the stock bumper that comes on the SCX6 Wrangler, and this is what I used to take measurements from so that I could build my own. But overall, it's, you know, similar kind of dimensions. I just think it looks better. Moment of truth. Oh, that looks so dope. That's my new word, dope. Or wicked. How about that looks wicked? Oh, so wicked. Mm, mm, mm. Damn. And it fits right up there. So let me screw this in. So I think it'll end up, because that, it probably won't match up with the holes right here. It'll probably be like right about there. Let's screw it in there and see. All right, so that is the as far in as it goes. So that's the very first hole, and I think that fits pretty well. And then I could also move it out if I needed to have some room behind it to fit something on. So overall, that looks awesome. All right, let's actually, I kind of want to see if it can climb these stairs in here. Oh, yeah. So for some reason, I really wanted real mirrors on the SCX6. And I didn't want that, you know, thin plastic like sticker stuff. I mean, it's an SCX6. It needs, you know, some extra detail. So I got these acrylic sheets and I tried to laser cut the size of the mirror out of it. And I tried several different cuts, like, you know, full power, 80%, slower speeds, faster speeds. And that did not work in the slightest. So what I am doing now is I actually cut it from this side, and all it did was just etch this side. So anyway, what I decided to do is I am just going to hand cut mirrors from this. So here's what I've got, and I've scratched the shit out of this, but here are my lines, and I made them a tiny bit wider and longer than the mirror, and I'm just gonna Dremel out the like rounded corners, and so I want them to fit as well as possible. So this is kind of where we're at. So I'm going to etch this side with an X-Acto knife, and then I'm going to try to snap it along those lines. As you can see, my etching, or my you know, etching and snapping has not worked out that great. So hopefully I can get one of these, or two of these technically, to work. I gotta need a new glove, I guess. And then I'll have some real mirrors on the SCX6 once I can get these in there. Fingers crossed I can get these cut out and the corners rounded out and fit into the housing well enough to look good, because I really don't want to use that, you know, thin sticker stuff. You know, it's just like shiny. You can't see a reflection in it. You know, and when I got the SCX6, I was really hoping that it had more detail than the SCX10 III, but it doesn't. It's like the exact same. There's no extra detail, you know, on this size. And so I thought, you know, at this scale, it's easier to get more detail out of things because it's a bigger size, you know. So that's why I've been redoing all my models to get the detail that I think it should have come with from, you know, Axial for what is it, 1,100 bucks. That's where we're headed, and we're gonna finish these mirrors off, hopefully, with some actual mirror. Okay, so 3 possibilities here. I haven't actually seen how close these are to fitting the housings. Hopefully I can get 2 out of 3 to work. That's all I really need. See if we can get these fit, and then the corners rounded to finish off these mirrors. Here are the 2 mirrors that I've come up with. Hopefully they fit the housings well enough. Now we can actually get a really clear reflection and have real side mirrors. I'll probably try to make a couple backup sets of these and keep the protective covering on while I shave them down. So we'll get these on and see how they look. Would you look at that? Real mirrors. That is pretty cool. Awesome. I kind of want to do the same thing with a rear view mirror. So one part completely finished, and let's see if there's anything else we can do. This is kind of the next route I'm heading. I have this high lift jack for my 10th scale. I really like it. My brother got this for me as a present a few years ago, and I thought it was the coolest thing. You know, it's all metal, and it actually works. I'm wondering if at this scale I'll have enough, you know, if I can get enough detail to actually get like the handle to work or whatever. Started putting, you know, heat set inserts. So these were the first few parts to the jack that I made, and they're pretty accurate. Obviously I changed like the top a little bit. This also looks a little bit too big. I don't know, we'll see. And I'm gonna continue on modeling each piece. So this has, gosh, I don't even know how many parts this has. So pretty much like 13 pieces approximately. I'll count those just to, nah, I don't want to count them. I'll discourage myself. I went down the rabbit hole and I modeled every piece on this thing separately. And then put them all together. At 6th scale, it was big enough to actually put some heat set inserts in there so I could have some you know, threaded spots for all of the screws that I needed to put in. So this almost works. It does not work currently, but it's so close. So I have some parts printing. I adjusted this lever a little bit, and then these pins. I was just a little bit off on my measurements at first. So hopefully, this is round 3 right now of printing various adjustments. My pins are just barely not long enough. So I just made the pin a little bit longer. I moved this little catch on the lever a little bit further forward. And hopefully, if those work out, I will have a working high lift jack that has been all 3D printed. It's so hard to do this one-handed. That is so cool. It almost works. But that's going to be awesome. So that is a really neat scale accessory. Now I can, you know, print copies or duplicates, or, you know, maybe even print it in a different size. I was actually thinking about also putting like a high lift, like the text on here, high lift on that. Or on this side, like just running down that center bar. Because with a 0.2 nozzle, these printers get really, really good detail. So I think that I might be able to fit it, the words high lift on that little piece. What do you think? Think I could fit high lift on there? The whole thing? Anyway, I'm gonna try these parts and see if they work as soon as they're done printing. I think I got about half an hour left, and we'll see. Okay, new arm is on. New pins are in. Moment of truth. Oh, okay, so it doesn't go up because the lever's not up. Lock it into place. Oh, a little wobbly here. Come on. Need 2 hands here. Oh my gosh, is that working? That is working. We have a working high lift jack. That is so cool. Can we make it go back down? We unlock the lever. No. I think it's a lower pin. I think I need to make my rail nubs, or whatever you'd call those, sit lower. I might try to do that. That is awesome. I will try to modify this rail. And then I also need to figure out where I'm going to mount this on the SCX6. My 10th scale I have it mounted on the roof rack, but I kind of wanted to do something different with this one. I actually wasn't planning on having a working one, but now that I do, I want to make like a mount that matches the coolness. I've seen these on a real Wrangler mounted on the hood before, just like sitting sideways basically. So I think I might try to do that. That was kind of where my mind was going. Gonna modify this and then we'll see. I don't know. I don't even really have a plan, but I'm just doing things to do them. All right, so this is kind of how it turned out. So now I'm printing different colors, and so far it works. I did add a hole to the handle. I added a hole to this, but I, for some reason, accidentally printed it in silver. So I'm redoing that right now, and we'll get a black one. I wanted to see how a silver handle looked, because I think that's the color of the handles on the real jacks. I should probably go actually look that up. But anyway, so now this thing works for jacking it up and then releasing it to slide all the way back down. So it does not go up because the handle is not locked, right? So this locking lever, we flip it up and that locks that, moves that out of the way of the pins. And so now, there we go. So awesome. So then, now to get it back down, right, because the pins are holding it up here, we release this handle, so flip it back down, and then this can just slide all the way back down, because that rail slides in front of the pins, pushes them back out, and removes them. It works just like this one, and actually this one technically does not work right now because for some reason I cannot get my handle to stay locked. But yeah, this one right now does not work. And then to hold the handle in place on this one, it has this little rubber grommet thing, and you slip it up over there. It kind of gets in the way though, so I wanted with this one, well, for one, I didn't have rubber, but this one is removable, so you can just take it off, but you just slip it over the handle, push it in, and it locks your handle in place. Of course, my handle has to be mounted. Everything goes together with bolts. There's not a drop of glue that is needed for this thing, and it functions. Will it lift a lot of weight? Probably not. Now that I have one, maybe I should just print, you know, a few of these and then test and see how much weight one can actually jack up. That is cool. This has been a success. Now I really need to figure out, once I get these last parts printed, the whole thing mounted with bolts, then I'm going to look at figuring out the mounting place that I want to keep it on the Jeep. I think I'm going to go with the hood, directly on top of the hood. It's just something different, you know? Man, that is cool. You know, starting out this project, I was just trying to get the main shape of the jack. I was not trying to get a working jack, one that could actually function. But after I print, you know, the more parts I kept printing, I was like, well, maybe. And then I started looking around for springs, because this takes 3 springs. It takes one on the rail pushing it down, one on each pin, and it's pushing those in. But for now, it works. I made a couple of these jacks. Actually, I made 3 of these jacks. And they all are functional. So this is this piece up here that holds the handle, the like handle retainer. But check that out. It says, you probably can't make that out. It says high lift on it though. I was able to fit the lettering on there. So I have one of these holding the handle on the one on the Jeep. So let's go take a look at that. Okay, so there it is. So this is where I'm going to carry it. It's set on hood mounts. It just actually pops off. These mounts actually go right over the hood hinges, and so they're screwed on. I switched out the hood hinges for bolt-on ones, bolted those down, and then I replaced the front bolt with another bolt that actually holds on these mounts. So then in the back of the jack, I have these 2 little spots here, and that slips down over that. And then on the other side, you just pull it a little bit, and it pops down over the mount, and that is where it rides. I'm going to test out this spot for a while, and I also might mount it to the roof rack and see if I like that a little bit better. I don't know, just trying something different. So that's all I've got for this particular round of upgrades. You know, this thing took quite a long time to model everything and print and get everything just right to where it works. So I think I'll cut it here. And in the so I have a lot of stuff for this SCX6 planned. I have a lot of parts on the way, so the servo is something that I sorely need to upgrade. After looking at that stock servo functioning, it was just, I mean, it's pretty much worthless now, at least with the weight we've got going on. So there's a couple things. Number one, I'm upgrading the servo. So I already got an RS2500 V2. That's an NSDRC servo. It's a 1/5 scale servo, and so that I'm hoping will tremendously improve the steering on the SCX6. I have metal shock towers, new lower links, new upper links, new steering links, a whole bunch of stuff on the way, and I really want to take a look at adding enough lights to where we can do some night driving. Not only do I want light in front of it, I want lights on the side, I want lights underneath and in the back, so I'm planning on overhauling the entire lighting system and seeing what we can do with that. So stay tuned. There's a ton of stuff that I'm doing to this thing. I was originally planning on doing like a 3-part video, but I ended up getting so much stuff that it might roll into 4 parts. So I don't know, we'll see.